What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York. We are back at Brooklyn Bazaar, and today we are with Lord Ahriman of Dark Funeral. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for your interest.
Yeah. You totally killed it on your last tour here with Septic Flesh, and now you're on this awesome tour with Belphegor. And Where Shadows Forever Reign is still the latest record, which came out in 2016. How's everything been with the record cycle so far?
Yeah, the new record has been going really well, and we've been busy touring ever since.
Yeah.
And yeah, plan was to not tour this year, stop touring and work on a new record, but just offers come in, and so we still have part of the world that we haven't visited on this record, so we're going to continue to tour this year, and next year we're going to take not a break, but we're going to focus on a new record and not tour as much as we have done.
Awesome. Do you have like full songs already written for the next record, or are you just still in the beginning process of it?
Yeah, just in the beginning, but I have some ideas recorded, so I'm not on scratch.
Okay.
So, but it's just it's hard to, until the new record is done, I never know where it's gonna end. But the stuff I've written so far is more groovy, more technical, more rhythmic.
Wow.
So we see where we end up with everything, but it's that's where I want to go, more rhythmic with everything, but still, keep the Dark Funeral sound.
Of course. I think you have the best of both worlds with your sound, where you can actually experiment a little bit, but in the end, it's still going to sound like Dark Funeral.
Yeah, I guess. Well, as I said, when I start writing a record, I just, go with the flow, and I never know where it's going to end and how it's going to sound in the end. So we'll see how it's going to be.
Now, one thing I'm really curious about with Dark Funeral actually is because you guys clearly do like take your time with your music. Because I know that before this record, like the last record came out in 2009, and before that was like 2005 or something like that. So, with the making of the albums, does it end completely different than when you first started it?
What do you mean?
Do you start off with one idea and then it goes in a completely different direction, like in terms of the sound or concept or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. When I started writing for Where Shadows Forever Reign, I got the feeling that it wasn't too melodic in the beginning, and but it was nothing. I was like, fuck it, it's just the way it's gonna be. But then when all the songs came together, I was like, fuck, this is still very melodic. Lots of melodies and stuff. But so yeah, sometimes I have a vision and it ends up a little bit different, or the other way around. But I don't like to have a fixed idea. Okay. It's I can only do what I do, and whatever comes out. And so far it's been going pretty well, but yeah. I'm not like trying to put up, demands on myself too much, that it has to be this way or that way. It's just, yeah, it is what it is when it's done.
What I find unique is with your style of guitar playing, because you mentioned you have a lot of emphasis on both rhythm and melody. Is there something that you always have to start off with to kind of lay down the groundwork for a song?
Well, when I write music, it's like watching a movie. Now it's easy when you have a home studio. You can just take parts and switch them around and see what works together, and if you get the right feeling and vibe from everything. But no, I just start with loose ideas and then see where it takes me.
Interesting. Another thing I'm curious about with Dark Funeral is that I know that your music is very conceptual in a way. You address these elements of Satanism and all that. Do you try to inform, as an artist, do you try to maybe like inform a listener on the concept of Dark Funeral, or can your music also still be open to interpretation?
Of course, that's the good thing with music. It should be open for different interpretation. Everybody get different feelings from the music they listen to, and it's fine. But for me, it's everything has to go hand in hand. The music has to fit with the way we act on stage, and how we are as a band. Everything has to go hand in hand. So it's need to be a concept from my side, but then it's up to to the listeners too.
Okay. And does that ever, can a listener's interpretation of your music maybe ever change your perception on your own music as well?
Not really, but I you know, our music means, or any kind of music means different things for different people. I mean, some people, yeah, I get a lot of fan mails when people tell me how our music changed their lives and helped them through difficult times or whatever. So it's different from person to person, but it seems to affect people on a very deep level, and that's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, as somebody who has seen you live before, I thought, when I first saw you on the Septic Flesh, Thy Antichrist tour, I mean, that was a completely different experience than listening to you guys through my music. So when you're playing live, is it a completely different experience than if you're just practicing or rehearsing when you're in front of an audience?
Yeah, of course. I mean, then you just, become one with the music and the feeling with it, and you can just go crazy, I guess.
Yeah. You really do tend to create an atmosphere when you're on stage. I feel like it's like you kind of going back to your movie analogy, I feel like you do enter kind of another realm or reality when, at least for when I'm watching you. I wonder if it's the same effect for you.
Well, it's hard to tell, but of course there's a whole different, you enter another state of mind when you play the music in front of an audience. And you also interact with the crowd because you're there with them. This is a common experience, you get exchange energies with the crowd, and that's something you can't do by yourself.
Of course. I feel like the crowd feeds off of you guys, but you also feed off the crowd just as much.
Of course. I mean, it's both ways. And that's what I think make a great live show, when you can do it together.
Do you try to execute the material exactly how it sounds on the album live, or do you like to maybe throw in some extra guitar soloings or?
Absolutely not.
Really?
No, but I always, when I write the record, and also record in the studio, I don't want to experiment too much in the studio, because it's always been important for me what we record and release on record we must be able to do it as good as that live on stage too. So yeah, and we try to keep it kind of clean and simple.
Okay. Because there's a lot of bands, especially when their songs are 90 minutes long, that they kind of go do these unnecessary drum solos, or they just do soloing for an extra 20 minutes.
I think that's just boring fill out for no good reason.
Yeah.
I mean, you can add. I have some ideas to build up between the songs, a bit different from what we're doing now. Maybe we're going to do that in the future. I have some cool ideas. It's also going to build up the atmosphere. So we'll see. But I've been on some big arena shows lately, the last couple of 2 years, and it changed. They do all of those kind of fill out, bullshit, and I just don't get it, because everybody get just, so what's this about? I think do it just fucking full throttle from start to finish, and skip all the bullshit in between.
I've noticed that you guys don't necessarily talk too much in between the songs too. You just go right into it.
Yeah, I think that's the way we are.
Yeah.
I mean, we like to focus on the music.
Of course. And one other question I'm really curious about is, being that, people hear black metal, they immediately think Norway, but you guys are from Sweden, which, of course, at the time that Dark Funeral started, there were bands also coming out At the Gates or The Haunted or, Soilwork and In Flames much later. Were you, maybe not the best way of saying it, but were you kind of Marduk is from Sweden, so was there a black metal scene in Sweden, or did you go outside Sweden more to get your name out there?
No, we had a great black metal scene in Sweden too, but at that time Norway got all the attention, but the Swedish scene have always been really big. Okay. Norway is a smaller country, more religious country, so I guess that's one of the reasons why it got so much attention at that time, and with everything going on. But we had a big. I mean, Sweden is a big country. We have a great black metal scene, death metal scene, you know, and metal scene in general. So
I was so surprised, like Lords of Chaos had such an emphasis on Norway when, like, they could have mentioned. I mean, I know that Dead is from Sweden originally, but like I was just curious to like, wow, they didn't mention Marduk or Gorgoroth or Emperor or Hercules or any of those guys.
well, that movie wasn't really based on that. It was just based on one event basically and a few individuals.
Yeah, yeah, they need to do a sequel like in Varg's Trial or something like that.
Well, we'll see about that.
Yeah. So before we go, I'd like to thank you so much for your time today. You're doing the Devastation on the Nation tour with Belphegor. Is there just anything else with Dark Funeral that you would like to promote?
Well, well, not promote maybe. Well, the tour, of course. There's a few shows left. Maybe I think we have 14 shows left, or between 10 or 4. I don't know. I mean, I'm just fucking on tour. But there's a few shows. There's still tickets left on. So if you're not haven't got the ticket yet, make sure to come out, because this is a fucking killer tour and lots of good bands, and yeah, you won't regret it. And I'm thankful for the amazing support we got on this tour, even better than the last tour. But yeah, US seems to be our new home almost. It's great to be here on tour, and we're gonna make sure to come back more often. Yeah. That's for sure.
Well, European and metal in America is like has on such like a pedestal. Like whether, regardless of how your music sounds, you could sound like At the Gates or you could sound like Five Finger Death Punch. The fact that your band is from Europe, people instantly take interest.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but for us, it's great to see that we have such a loyal fan base and support from here. So,
yeah, awesome.
So,
well,
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Welcome, man.
Everybody, Lord Ahriman of Dark Funeral. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.